Oh, no. They have their own podcast. Oh, not even like something. So I probably know it's pop time. Like 15 minutes. Well, that should be at least for me, that is a conversation. All right. Brain overload. No, go. We did with you. Yeah. Going down there. Now, it's been requested. Doing all that.
Are we ready, Lisa?
Just want to spill my monster.
You see us waiting for Quinn on that.
Oh, wait, it's not it. You're leaving your mother.
Oh, poor Quinn.
Good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to our South Weaver City Council meeting this evening. It is 6 p.m. It's Tuesday, November the 15th, 2022. We'll begin with a pledge of allegiance by Councilman Soderquist and a prayer by Councilwoman Alberts.
Stand and repeat after me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we are so very grateful to be able to be gathered here this night to discuss the needs of our city and to be able to plan and prepare for the things that we need to do, and pray that thy spirit will be here with us. And we give our thanks, Father, for all of our emergency personnel, for our firefighters and our police officers and all those that serve to protect us, and pray that will keep them safe. And we're grateful for all those that serve this beautiful community that we are so blessed to live in, and pray that we will be mindful and be wise with the decisions that we must make this night. And we do these things in Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, we're going to begin with public comments. If you've got a comment, we ask you to step up to the podium and state your name and your city. And we'll turn the time over to anyone who would like to make a comment.
Paul Stern, South Weaver City. I was going to have a large public comment tonight, and it was regarding the meeting minutes from last meeting. It was public comment. It's on action item 4B, and it was under reports number 10 for the council and staff. And it was a statement that Trevor Cahoon made regarding the Gateway development. And the comment, the sentence that piqued my interest was that the developers are no longer selling the commercial portion of their property. After further discussion, I was informed that that did not mean they were not going to produce the commercial. They're just not selling it. And the reason I'm speaking right now is in case anybody else misinterpreted as the same way that I did. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, our next item is the approval of our consent agenda. for October the 11th, 2022 minutes, October 25th, 2022 minutes, the October check register, and September budget to actual. Are there any changes to these? Anyone has noticed? If not, then I'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Have a motion,
Seconded.
do we have a second? Seconded? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item, resolution 22-47, amending policy and procedure 7.090, electronic communication. Any discussion on this resolution? No discussion, we'll look for a motion.
Do we have any discussion or are we just thinking?
Oh,
Okay.
I thought Lisa did a very good job.
I did
Okay.
too. Yeah, thought it was good.
Great, then Mayor, I will move to approve resolution 22-47, amending policies and procedures 7.090, electronic communications.
I second that.
Okay, we got a second. Give us a roll call vote with Halverson.
Aye.
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 Hi.
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you very much. Next resolution, 22-48, culinary water well agreement with Wasatch Integrated Waste Management District. Any discussion on this? We've got Preston from the Wasatch Integrated here. If anyone has any questions they'd like to ask him,
So I do
they
have one
can, or
question.
if not,
I do have one question. If you were not getting this connection through South Weber, what would you be doing? What other option do you have?
We don't have another option. We just would not water. So we're looking to water before the secondary water turns on in the spring and after it turns off. Seems like it's getting turned off earlier and earlier in the fall. And so we have a lot of green waste that we need to produce into compost so that it doesn't go into the landfill. And that's what we're trying to do, is increase our ability to divert waste.
Thank you.
So basically, without us, you'd just be up a creek without a paddle. So glad to be here. to help you out.
He just would have had the creek.
Yeah. Okay. No questions?
any other questions for Preston? Appreciate you
Mhm.
being here
Yeah.
tonight, Preston.
Yes.
Thank you.
That was
for-
great.
So the only other question I did have, it's not necessarily for you, it's probably for our staff. I mean, we've got that schedule at the end, Exhibit 2, that talks about the yearly increase in fees. If inflation goes out of whack and that's no longer covering what really the costs are for us, is there any negotiable option, or it's just set for the next 10 years?
The plan was to have that in there as an escalator so that it would cover the, inflation at a historic rate. I think that based on how we've worked in the past with Wasatch Integrated, that they've been open and we've been open to having conversations, during that period of time if there was a need. So it's set in there so that it can cover those changes, but if there needs to be further dialogue, then
We do
I think
not
we
want to
don't.
have a negative impact on the city of South Weaver.
No, appreciate that.
Our neighbors and our owners.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
And I think it says in the contract that they'll be responsible for
Right, any
any
beyond-
increases or
yeah.
whatever is beyond the city's normal operating.
So you're just holding the water up there, right? It's just- Sorry. We're just gonna-
Get your exercise.
It just steps in.
No, we're not holding the water is what. So we have a connection right now to the secondary, so it's pressurized secondary that feeds our watering system. It's like a rolling pivot that waters our windrows. So we're gonna connect to yours through a meter system and have another connection so that we can unconnect from the secondary and connect directly.
I
So
see.
we'll only use your water when we're actually putting it on the windrows. It's not gonna be stored. We're not gonna be impacting the outside of that.
Okay.
And we've checked, this isn't going to change the water pressure, right?
no, this shouldn't affect the system really at all. It's been, they've been great to work with as we've gone through their plans and their needs. Brandon has done a really good job, working through those details and figuring out the sizing requirements and all of that. And so, the goal essentially is to have as little impact as possible.
Yeah.
And that's what I think has been accomplished.
The connection's prior to your tank.
Yeah, I was gonna say it before the tank.
He said backflow preventers, this is all designed in Weber Basin's, under Weber Basin's watchful eye, because they're gonna have control of the meter, and they have a very long laundry list of requirements.
Their list was much longer than ours when it came down to it.
Thank you.
I think we're done.
And Quinn, in response to your question, I think this is the time when I tell you the law has no heart. And so you're bound by the agreement. I think there's goodwill between the two organizations to
Right.
amend it if need be, but they have no obligation legally to do that. But I still think the agreement's a good one, and
Yeah.
I don't have any issue with it.
Okay. Look for a motion then.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 22-48 culinary water wheeling agreement with Wasatch Integrated Waste Management District. I'll second that.
Second, we'll have the vote starting with Councilman Deal.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Next resolution 22-49, Public Treasurer's Investment Fund Authorization. Any discussion on this resolution?
I do have one question on, when we're transferring funds back and forth between the state's public treasurer investment fund, how are they tracking interest? Do they get all the interest that we would have gotten, or do they keep that separate so we get our interest in all those funds?
We have, we have one fund and we get a monthly statement showing our interest on the fund. It's calculated monthly on the entire fund, and so everybody earns the same interest rate. Basically, with the fund, they invest the money. They've got, I know it's over $1 billion now that they invest, and all those who contribute to the fund earn interest through those investments. That's passed on to us. Most of the costs of running the fund are covered by the state of Utah and don't come out of the interest that is earned. The transfer of funds between the PTF and our bank account, the funds cannot be transferred anywhere but between those two. No money can be withdrawn from the PTIF and be sent anywhere but to our bank account. And so that's one of the safeguards that they have. And depends on our end of the month balance, what our interest rate, what interest we earn is.
Okay, very good, thank you. Any other questions?
Anyone else?
I just have one other question. So in the summary we have, it says this resolution. You know what? Never mind. I just answered my own question.
Mac was good, wasn't he?
Yep.
Okay, someone like to make a motion?
Mayor, I'll move to approve resolution 22-49, the Public Treasurer's Investment Fund authorization. I'll second
That was me.
it.
Haley seconded. Okay, we'll have a roll call vote starting with Councilman Halverson.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion passes.
Woo, all right.
Next one. Resolution 22-50, garbage collection contract addendum with Robinson Waste. And anyone have any questions or discussions on that? We have a member from Washington, or Robertson Waste. If anyone has a question, he's here. Somebody's got to have a question or else he wasted his time coming. Okay.
Sure, well, I'll ask one. I'll throw one out. We don't want him to feel bad.
He just wants you to get to stand up.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna walk back.
So we, So we've done this multiple 5-year periods. Is the 5-year? I mean, we have a 10-year, obviously, with the water thing, and then others we have 5 years, and others we have 3 years. How do we decide
How many years?
5 years, 10 years, 3 years? It's just, whatever we guess, or is there some guideline somewhere?
Go for it.
You're, for contracts with private entities, there's a 5-year cap on those procurements. That's, most entities are subject to that cap, and so I think that's why you see that so often. The other agreement you approved earlier tonight is with another governmental entity, and so it can be a little bit longer
Thank you.
duration.
Appreciate that.
You didn't even have to answer
I
that
guess you
question.
don't even have to. Just wanted to look at you.
So,
We appreciate what Robinson does for the city. They do us a great job.
We appreciate
that.
provide the service.
Yeah, it's a good service you provide. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
thank you.
Before you go away, I just want to verify, extending the 5-year contract, that means the same price structure stays during that 5 years, or does the current contract have a variable, a way to change it?
It allows for adjustments based on,
Okay.
based on inflation and service needs. It's changed a few times since we started that back in 2007. But the current contract has ability for them to adjust each year. We have those conversations. I meet with Lance regularly. We have interactions, and every year he'll bring their either new rate, or whether there's an adjustment or no adjustment or whatnot. We have those conversations, and then that goes through the committee structure for the budget, and how that relates to the utility rates that residents have.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, Mayor, I make a motion, we approve resolution 22-50, garbage collection contract addendum with Robinson Waste.
Seconded.
okay, we have a second. So we'll do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Deals.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, we went right through those.
You might set a
Bada
record.
bing.
You might set a record, Mayor.
Yeah, you are gonna set a record.
Okay. Any new business that anyone needs to bring forth tonight?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you coming.
Have a good night.
Anyone have any new business? Or you want to go into council reports? No new business? Okay. Joe, would you like to be in with you?
Yeah, really the only thing I have to report on right now is that we do have curbing now around the bike track that we have over in the Canyon Meadows. This allows us to have a definition between what's currently the park and what is under construction as part of the bike track. So it looks good. We're finishing up the hills. Got some weeds that still have to be taken care of and a few other things. But yeah, it's ready to go as soon as people want to do it, whether it's for bikes or remote control cars. The second one is I just wanted to thank everybody out there who helped us track down the vandals rather quickly. I even saw our notice from Davis County shared on almost all of the other cities out there. So, I mean, it made a blanket publication out there, and it worked really well. So,
Well, I'm glad we got those cameras in. Kind of gives us the reputation that we are not the city to come to for that kind of stuff. So
It's on
it's good.
a couple of
Really good.
local news channels too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't mess around with us.
Left South Weaver.
Yeah.
and that's it.
Oh, good. Okay, thanks. So, Katie?
Okay, so code committee met today. And we reviewed a very synopsis of zoning, residential zoning, and kind of had the epiphany that there wasn't really a great need for any changes in those other zonings, those other zones. So that was a huge check off our list because that's been sitting there for 2 years, 18 months. Trevor's nodding. He wasn't even here for it, but
Years, I think.
okay.
I've been here 18 months, so,
Have you really?
yeah.
Okay.
almost.
And then
What?
PR committee met yesterday and pretty excited. We were able to talk with a resident about bringing in concerts in the park in the summer. Kind of talked about a way to create a venue for that, just at the park with food trucks and a way to get people out in the summer. We are shooting for May through September. He's gonna arrange the bands and we're gonna arrange some, like, well, they're gonna arrange the other stuff that the schematics. And so that's really something excited that we're excited for.
City sponsored or private?
It's city, well, yeah, I guess it's city sponsored, but it's just hoping to be just free events to have in the park throughout the summer months on Thursdays, I think is what we decided.
Yep.
I think
So-
that's good.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. And we are meeting tomorrow, PR, to go over city event and planning because we didn't get quite enough time there. So what?
City center.
What did I say?
The event.
All right, well, yeah. There, thank you. So we will be working on that. So
Thank you, Haley. Quinn?
Don't have any new updates this week.
Now, just a minute. I think you were in
Oh,
charge
gosh.
of the show and tell this time. You got your, didn't you say you do the show and tell? Darn it,
Oh, do you have one for me?
never mind. You guys weren't impressed with my.
I didn't know this was the site.
Batteries.
Just let me know when it's my turn.
I think it was today.
We'll have a new show and tell.
I don't have a good show and tell. No, I am impressed. I was so impressed with it. Okay.
Did you lose your train of thought?
I thought you told me to stop talking. Am I okay to report? Okay. I don't have anything. Okay. Okay, sorry, Mayor. We had our YCC retreat this weekend. It was fantastic. We got a lot of good planning done, and as part of that, and in conjunction with what Councilman Dills said last time, we're going to do a house decorating contest for the winter, but we're going to expand on that and have it be, you can decorate your house or a gingerbread house, and we'll have 2 different contests for that. So staff is going to have a form that people can fill out, and then they can be in the running, so to speak, and then we'll judge them. So the contest will be open the day after Thanksgiving through December 15th, and then we will judge them on 17th,
which is
also our Breakfast with Santa event, and there will be more information forthcoming with that. So check the city sign, the website, etc. And that's all I have. Oh, municipal utilities will be meeting next week to discuss our public works building finally. So I think that's it.
our YCC had a great retreat.
I said that first.
Oh, you did?
Haley has a reputation of forgetting things, I think. I'm done. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So I've got a quick question on that. On the scoring for those, the decorations, I think we ought to add like an extra 10 bonus points or something if both neighbors on each side are also decorated.
Both
Oh,
neighbors
like,
on each
to
side.
increase
So,
the competition,
uh-huh.
or like to give them, okay.
So that it's not just one house. If your whole neighborhood starts to do it, then yeah, you really start getting extra bonus points. Think about it. That's all I'm saying. Every neighbor will get.
Well, yeah,
You'll-
then
you'll-
wouldn't they just,
Well, no, so the one house that's been nominated for it or
Mhm.
okay,
get
self-nominated
bonus points because
gets
you have
bonus points
neighbors.
if both neighbors are also decorated.
He shares his line.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just think about it. That's
Yeah.
all I'm asking.
Yeah, we'll,
I think it
we'll,
will be,
I just want to
we'll
see as
polish
many
it up
lights
real
as
nice.
possible, so.
okay.
it'll be a,
I can't wait to go by Joel's house.
I know.
He is so excited about
He
that.
is.
City excluded.
And we're gonna have like a winter wonderland this year, like it's gonna be lots of snow and beautiful lights and
Bejeweled.
But I will be having R2D2 with a Santa hat this year, so
ooh,
life size,
light.
not the Santa hat, but
Well,
R2D2.
he still only likes to be tall.
All right, that's all I had to report. I'll have, do you want to assign me show and tell next time? I will do it. I will not let you down. I won't let you down. Okay.
Okay. Blair?
The only thing I have to report on is planning commission. I assume most of you are aware that they had the discussion item on R7. And they are, they haven't had an action item yet, but it has, or I don't know how it is called an action item though, right? When they make a recommendation. But they are talking about it going to the R5 with the bonus density. But there are some things that we need to think about as council as it comes to us about whether that bonus density is, you know, they go to 6 if they do these, they go to 7 if they do these, they can even possibly go
tiered?
to 8 if they did all of this. And so that's one of the things they're going back and forth on. And then they're also, they were struggling a little bit with the architectural design issues and how you categorize those. I think it can be simplified, but they also talked about taking that to code committee. I'm assuming that Taylor Walton brought that up today. He did
He
not.
was not there.
So, but that
Taking,
is,
I'm sorry,
am I
taking what?
incorrect in that? They were talking about having the code committee talk about architectural design.
I think that's what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Trevor, you were there.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I believe so. I just
Yeah.
go double check.
Because I mean, they were wanting to get into like roof pitches and all sorts of different things. And I think it's more,
Single types and.
the code should get a little more basic. Anyway, we can have our own discussion on it. I just want you to be thinking about it because I think if you read our current city code and some of our PUDs and things, it's very simple. Not,
So are you saying that the design standards for all the zones or just the
all of it.
overlay?
They were talking, well, Taylor was talking both. Mhm.
Okay.
But I don't know.
One idea, just to pick up, they talked about doing a simple design standard, but then having a conversation about whether or not we want to make those design standards more specific, whether that's specific specifications of materials or design elements that we want to incorporate. Does that?
Well, yeah, but sorry, I don't mean to belabor the point, but are they wanting to come back to code committee for the design standards of the overlay? Okay, of the
No.
zone.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just as a separate conversation from that. As we
Okay.
dive more into conversations about overlay zones, then let's talk about those
Okay.
more in depth on what we want to do.
I just
But
want to make sure, because that's what
Yeah.
we sent to them. So we're playing ping pong ball here.
Yeah,
So,
and they did talk about that and they were talking about trying to make a
Okay.
decision the next time around. So it comes back to us, so we're not ping ponging it back and forth.
thank you.
I don't think there was anything else really to belabor on that, so that's all I have.
Is there a new opening?
Okay,
Oh,
2 questions.
They do have
Yeah.
an opening
Taylor's going on.
Oh,
and that was put out on the city email.
is that on the sign as well? And the
Yeah.
website?
it's on the website, it was on email, and I believe Shaylee made it on the sign, correct? Yes. It was on the sign. So it's on everything.
So there is an
What's
opening.
the date for closing on that?
December 12th is the closing date for that.
Are they getting sworn in January?
Mhm.
So they would take, it's the end of January, or is it at January?
February. It's a
Their
February.
first meeting as a
First-
planning commissioner would be in February. They would be sworn in, or they would be appointed in January at city council meeting.
Staff?
I
Anything to
don't have
report?
anything.
I have one, just to add on from the planning commission, they wanted me to pass this along to you all. One of the discussion items we had was planning commission goals for 2023. And kind of what they want to double check with the council is that as a planning commission, they want to bring forward items that they would like to work on during 2023. Things like water in the general plan, architectural standards or open lands, sensitive lands, hillsides, active transportation, not all of those, but some of those. So they're gonna fine tune what that list will be. It'll be a smaller list just because of their capacity and their meeting schedules, but they just wanted to make sure that the council is aware that they were planning on bringing forward items for them to work on as a proactive commission throughout the year. So
Is that for our combined meeting later this month that they'll bring those?
it'll be a little bit, we'll talk a little bit about that, but mainly they're gonna draft kind of, these are our goals, these 3 or 2 items we want to accomplish next year. City council, since you direct our work, are you comfortable with us taking time to work on that throughout the year?
They won't have that ready to present on the
So they're
29th.
sending it to us like an agenda item technically, is
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Yeah, we'll have
Okay.
Jeremy come and present that probably in January. As these are our goals for this year. Are you fine? Because ultimately we can't do any work without your consent, right? So,
Right, yeah.
they want to make sure that you all are comfortable with their goals of what they're working on.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, thanks, Trevor. Just one item to talk a little bit about, and that is our sign is back up, and give you a report on how that came about. So everything was pretty much donated on that. The only cost that we should have on that is what Young Electric Sign did. We had budgeted $9,000 for that sign. I think their bid was, have we received anything from them yet on a bill?
We paid the 50% down, but we haven't had
So
the
it's
final
about
invoice.
73, 75, is that, am I thinking?
I have in
correct?
my head that it was 7,800, but now I don't remember.
So whatever
exactly.
it is, that'll be the cost of the sign. Everything else was donated. We got the concrete from Parsons. They donated that. So it's up. It looks really good. We do have the South Weber top that will go back on the sign. Public Works has been working on that. I think they've got that ready to go. Mark Larson's out of town this week. And hopefully we'll get that put back on the top next week. So I think turned out pretty good.
That's
I agree.
fantastic.
Thank you for taking point on that.
And the no turn on red went down
It did?
mid-project. As soon
Yep.
as the sign was down, that's been
Yeah,
gone now
UDOT came
for
right
a
through
week and
with
a
that.
half or so.
And that was
Fuck.
official, right? That wasn't just somebody took it. UDOT actually. came out
UDOT is the
with
one who came and formally removed it.
I wanted to,
I was gonna say, I wanted to go out there and take it first.
I wanted
Keep
to
it.
go up there and keep it, and put it in my garage.
You and I are on the same wavelength.
For memory.
I think,
For memory.
I think it's in Michael's garage.
Oh, yeah, it might be.
Do you want to check on that for us, Paul? And then report?
See, I told you.
I can tell you exactly when things are.
I know.
I believe that.
I bet the timestamp on it.
Pictures of Rod saw.
I did.
Yep. You do have a timestamp then.
Wow.
Can I actually add one thing as
Sure.
we're talking about Paul, as we were? A shout out to Paul, because one of the items on the agenda tonight for the policies and procedures manual, that update, Paul on his own time went through our formatting of that document. If you remember, previous updates had various formats, and of his own volition, he volunteered to work through that and format that for us so it's all uniform. And so this policy and procedures update and future ones will all have a much better look and feel based on his work. So shout out. to
Well
very
done.
good. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Paul.
Thank you.
Paul.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Serious. We needed it.
And now I'll be ready
Okay.
for Evermore. Your name will be written on the,
No.
well, I mean, like, no, all the changes, not your name, never mind. I'm just saying, the format is ready and it's, you've created our standard that we can move forward with. You can be proud of.
Okay, so I assume we're moving into a closed session, Dave. Is that still
Yes.
the plan?
Look at this.
So we'll have a motion. to-
Mayor, I like.
Mayor, I'm
I
going to
make
make a motion
motion.
to go into closed session.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 We'll excuse everyone except those that are going to be in the.